I've got a question for you. How many loyalty cards do you have in your wallet? Now, loyalty cards are a phenomenon of the last, 10, 15 years. If I go back to my childhood, I suppose they were equivalent things like the old co-op stamps. That dates me, doesn't it? But the notion of a loyalty card where you hand over your card with your purchase and you get points, which you can then redeem for all sorts of benefits and goodies, that's a fairly recent thing. And of course, it's in the interest of a lot of companies to offer loyalty schemes because it enables them to track a person's buying behaviour and know more about what people want and what they buy together and so on. So it gives them valuable marketing information in exchange for some vouchers, some treats, some extra goodies and privileges and so on. So it seems to work very well. So I was handing over my loyalty card in a well-known retailer's the other day, and I caught myself thinking about the nature of loyalty. Because, like most people, I have a habit of shopping at a certain supermarket. And last year, or the year before, it may well be now, a rival supermarket chain opened up halfway between my home and my usual supermarket. So I found myself in an interesting position of driving past one supermarket to get to another. And I had a friend who came to stay with me for a few days, and as we were driving from my house to the supermarket I normally shop in, my friend said to me, "Oh, well, don't you shop at this supermarket?" And I said, "Oh, well, no, they've only recently opened up, and I always go to this one." Is that just habit or is it loyalty? So my friend said, "Well, what's the new place like?" And I said, "I don't know, I haven't been in it." So having had that conversation, my curiosity got the better of me. So I went into the new supermarket. And sure enough, it's a nice shiny new supermarket. And they'd put their best foot forward for the opening phase. And there was a lot of very nice food on offer and very good service from all of the staff, a very nice environment. And, it was, as a grocery shopping experience goes, and it's not my favourite thing to do, it was pretty good. So I went home, and as I was unpacking my groceries, I was thinking to myself, so will I go back there? And I noticed that I'd actually felt disloyal shopping in the new supermarket. So I started to think about this whole business of loyalty. Clearly, it's something that's important for me. I've noticed, it's one of my values. It shows up in lots of things that I do, in my business relationships, my personal relationships. Loyalty is very important to me. But why would I feel this sense of loyalty to a supermarket? They have no loyalty to me. It's a one-way street. Now, I don't need a loyalty card. I've decided where I buy my groceries, and that's where I go. And I'm the same with a lot of other things. So I was thinking about the notion of loyalty cards. And perhaps you can tell how loyal somebody is by the number of loyalty cards they have in their wallet. Because my thinking is that if you're someone who isn't terribly loyal, that you like to shop around, you like to experiment with different opportunities, you don't like to do the same thing too much over and over again, then you might have lots of different loyalty cards. You might have a loyalty card for 4 different supermarkets, depending on which one you happen to be shopping in this week. But the people who are really loyal probably only have a small number of loyalty cards because they only shop in a small number of places. It's an interesting thought, isn't it? But what's this got to do with you? Well, apart from the fact that, like me, you probably do have loyalty cards for supermarkets that you shop in and other places, let's think about loyalty in the workplace. I think there was a time when people joined organisations and they would expect to stay with that organisation for a long time, perhaps for all of their working life. And while there are still people who do that, the percentage of the workforce who will stay with the same company for their entire working life, I think, has dropped dramatically in the last 20 years. So most people now expect to move on, they expect to have a career that features numbers of different companies, perhaps different roles, different responsibilities, maybe even different professional specialities. So where does loyalty come in? Because some people think that moving on from your current employer and going somewhere else is a sign of not being loyal. And yeah, you could say that clearly if you've just come to the point where you're not going to work for an organisation anymore, then something has changed. Your attitude to that organisation has changed. But I think you can still be loyal to an old employer. And I think what this comes down to then is, what do we mean by loyalty? For me, loyalty is about continuing to believe that someone or an organisation that I've done business with has value, that even if their relevance in my life has diminished in some way and I've moved on somewhere else, that I would still value the fact that that person, that organisation has been a part of my life and would still continue to speak warmly of them. Disloyalty, I think, is not so much the opposite of that, but disloyalty would be where someone departs from their normal behaviour and perhaps speaks badly or behaves in a way that reflects badly on another person or another organisation. So in the workplace, I think even though someone has decided to move on, we don't necessarily need to regard them as disloyal. I think what disloyalty means for a lot of people in organisations now can be how they talk about their employer. So there was a time when most people would refer to the company that they worked for, and they would refer to it as we as an organisation are doing this. So they may say, oh, we've just bought another company, or we're launching a new product. And they would do that, as a very individual part of something absolutely enormous. They would still feel that they were part of it. I hear that less and less now, and quite often I hear people talking about the company they work for as they, as in the board, the management, the idiots that run the company, as one person says occasionally. Now, I think that's disloyal. So if you work for an organisation, then I think it's important to talk about your employer, the organisation that you're part of, in loyal terms. Because if you don't, who does it reflect badly on? It doesn't actually reflect as badly on the people that you're criticising as it does on you. Because why would any intelligent person continue to work for an organisation that they don't have respect for?